Hello and welcome back to Module 3. In Module 3, the first thing that we're going to have a little look at is we're going to have a look at language games, the type of game that would help improve and help you learn a language which is not your own. Because let's face it, the use of computer games and the use of gamification has really revolutionized how it's possible to learn another language from a computer, from a game, rather than from somebody that's a native speaker in that language. Now, there's lots of examples of language games out there. Still, the ones that are very, very popular are games for the Nintendo DS or the Nintendo 3DS. And this is an example here of a game called My French Coach. And what's really interesting about this game is that not only is it available in different languages, as you would expect, Japanese, Chinese and Spanish, but also this game itself is very, very cheap to buy once you've got the handheld console. But it also gives you 150 language lessons, and these language lessons, in some ways are quite personalised to you, because depending on how you get on with the content, it will recommend that you go back and repeat a lesson, or maybe that you skip some lessons. The game itself also contains a full dictionary for whichever it is the languages that you're studying, and because the Nintendo DS in this instance here has got a microphone on it and it's got speakers on it, then it's possible for the device to speak the language to you and for you to repeat the word and then for it to match to see how you're getting on. Now, that's very, very important, I guess, in all languages, but it's particularly important in languages with a tonal, for example, Chinese. Now, the interesting thing about using this type of game in the classroom is that I've been into classes where the classroom teacher is struggling to get the children in their class to speak out loud so that they can check the pronunciation, and I've been back into the same class where the young people are using either tablet computers or Nintendo DS's to learn a language in this way, and actually they're speaking very, very clearly and very, very fluently into their games console. And again, it comes back to one of those principles, I think, of Module 1, which this whole idea that the fact that a game is competitive, but it's also non-threatening. The children are quite happy to speak to the games console and get that wrong, but they don't feel embarrassed by that, whereas speaking out in front of one of their peers, sometimes there's a bit of apprehension there, sometimes there's a little bit of embarrassment. And of course, the secret of the classroom teacher is getting the children speaking comfortably with the computer or the games console, and then being able to take that into the domain, of the real world. So lots and lots of examples of language games. Now, as you all know, apps are very, very popular these days. Apps for computers, but also apps for tablets and for smartphones. And this is just a very, very quick screenshot here of some of the language apps to teach you French from the Android App Store. The problem, of course, with apps is that some of them are very, very good, some of them might not be as good as they could be, some of them are free, right, and some of them you have to pay for. So the important thing is to go out and to test out these apps beforehand. The other thing that you can do, which works quite well when dealing with apps, is to set it as a homework task or a home learning task. Get your students to go in to explore a different language app each, and then to come back and to review it. And then you can decide which one's the best and maybe use that with a class. One very, very popular app, though, that I did wanted to mention was Duolingo. And that's a free app which is available. There are some premium services that you can buy as well. It's specifically for learning French in this case. And what makes it a good app is, again, there are lessons which are progressive around basic languages or phrases. And as you work your way through the early lessons, then it lets you unlock other levels, so it's quite gamified to be able to speak French about animals, food, or verbs. The exercises are interactive, they include video and they include pictures. The young people that we've used this with have thoroughly enjoyed it, although they wouldn't want to use it all the time. And also you're able to track your progress. You're able to track your progress not only as an individual, but you can also track it against other people that you're linked up with on social networking sites. So language apps and language games have got massive potential in the classroom and massive potential for independent learning at home as well. So if you're short of something to do, why don't you pop over to the Windows 8 store or the Android store or the iOS store, and why don't you see if you can find and discover some good language apps that you might be able to use in your classroom.